I
I
don't
mean,
know about you.
that's kind of what I'm feeling as well. Like I'm really feeling underwhelmed at the moment with what we're getting. Like, yeah, they have all these features and various things that you can do and whatnot, but I've kind of not really been a big fan since we found out that they're just focusing in on Lumiose City.
Yeah.
And with what we're kind of seeing here, it's like, I don't know how much of the city that they're really going to explore and exactly how they intend on being able to fill that out.
Yeah. Let me just go ahead and start the playback actually real quick. Let me go. Let's do high definition. There we go. So, all right. Let me go ahead and lower the volume so Nintendo copyright doesn't strike me.
Yeah.
All right. Let me just start the stream here, sharing with you.
Okay, go ahead.
Get ready for a citywide adventure in the world of Pokémon.
Is it just me, or is it just like
Pokémon Legends ZA. Our story is set in the thriving
It's
metropolis
just
of
what?
Lumiose City, where an urban redevelopment plan is
it just?
underway to shape it into a place that belongs to both
I mean, I'm
humans
sure the
and
city itself
Pokémon.
is expanded from like mainline games because just for expediency.
Here, you'll meet your perfect
Um,
Pokémon and set off on an adventure all your own. Wild zones can be found throughout Lumiose City.
okay, if I was an
Hmm.
urban planner, why do these exist?
Because they're going to probably try to cram this type of stuff in ever since Generation 8 with the
These
wild
habitats were
areas
specially constructed to give
and whatnot,
Pokémon
but at
places
least
to
for
live
those
comfortably.
games, it kind of made more sense because you're out in the open and whatnot. This whole wild zone thing doesn't really feel like it makes a lot of sense
No, not at
because
all.
it's like all scattered around the city and everything in various places, and it's like that doesn't really make a whole lot of sense in the
And
grand scheme of things.
yeah, I'm sure we'll figure it out with as we talk to like NPCs and characters to talk about the lore of why these were established. But you can definitely tell that like no business is done in these districts like anymore. No one's like, taking care of the area. So it's just like, oh, we're just gonna like abandon these areas to Pokemon and just let people go in there and just do pest control. Ugh.
Even without having to battle, you can catch a wild Pokémon by tossing a Pokéball its way.
Yay.
But watch out, some Pokémon might attack. When that happens, it's time to battle. Moves are assigned to the 4 face
I
buttons.
do like this UI though.
After
Yeah, I
you use
think
one,
this
a move can be
is
used
a
again
little
when it
bit
recharges.
different.
Yeah.
Careful though, different moves recharge at different speeds, so consider which ones you want to use and when.
Someone
I don't
said, oh, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I don't quite think the system and everything was like this in particular for Legends Arceus.
Yeah.
It Legends Arceus still kind of followed a turn-based system in a way, and this feels a lot more potentially free form. I'm not sure if they're still adhering somewhat to there's an element of turn-based going on here or if it's full like freeform action, but this feels like it's deviating a lot more from the turn-based system.
Yeah, so I can definitely tell that each of the moves have their own cooldowns, and then when they're ready, you can command it, and then your character, not your Pokemon will go ahead and charge up and do what it needs to do.
And when. Strategically
It
planning out
definitely looks like it's not fully turn-based because you can definitely tell like some Pokemon are doing multiple moves at once.
your team.
So I think it's really just on move cooldown.
Things are looking tough. It might make sense to run.
Again, why do we have these enraged? Why do we even have enraged Pokemon just in the middle of nowhere? I'm not in the middle of the town.
Around town, you can relax with your Pokemon at cafes.
Well, because I guess those areas of town are totally abandoned, but that also kind of,
Hairstyles.
you know, makes the point of if they're totally abandoned and everything, what good are they really doing for the Pokemon?
Yeah. Well, I have this feeling that, like, I mean, we'll figure it out in a little bit. Of course, this is the part that some
And
people.
even have an impromptu photo shoot at your favorite spots.
Yay. If this was an actual MMO, I would care more.
God, I wish they would make a Pokemon MMO.
You know what? That'll be their like last. That'll be their like last, like ditch. Like if nothing else works.
If you're spotted,
Oh my God, we're mugging a kid.
or you can sneak up on an unsuspecting opponent to try landing a surprise attack. Win enough battles, and you'll earn the right to challenge a tougher opponent in a promotion match. Everyone starts at rank Z.
This kind of reminds me of Yu-Gi-Oh! Battle City. Just challenge anyone to a duel, right there.
This is Hotel Z. It'll serve as your base of operations, and you'll meet some friendly faces here.
I actually like this part. I really do like the aesthetics of your new hub.
Or Tawny.
All right, return of.
Yeah, no, the hotel like kind of feels nice, and I think there's some potential and everything here with the dynamics of the various characters that are involved with this little operation to be able to tell a good story. I don't know. There feels like I'm so used to with the last several Pokemon games feeling like there's a lot of potential and then it just whiffs in the end. So anytime I see a little bit of a trace of potential, like with the cast that we have here, that I feel like there's some good avenues that the game could go into. I have to temper my expectations because I know what to expect.
Yeah.
You'll form Team MZ in order to protect the city.
TMZ. Get it? Yeah. Hey, this guy's back.
No, they did not. They did not do that.
Well, at least he's reunited with his buddy. Actually, when did he lose his buddy? Like, wasn't his backstory that his Pokemon died or was lost?
So the full backstory, because somehow I remember this from X and Y,
Yeah.
was that AZ was responsible for making a machine that, based off of the game version X or Y, was responsible for doing various things and creating various outcomes. But the machine he built in order to resurrect his Pokemon, and in the event or whatever, like somewhere along the way, this machine, it ends up causing catastrophe, and his Pokemon comes back to life, but the machine like caused some kind of destruction or war or something. But either way, Pokemon comes back, and it's like disgusted with what he did to bring it back to life and all of the damage that it caused, that it basically leaves him and abandons him. And then he wanders around for 3,000 years trying to do whatever. And at the end of X and Y, he finally meets again his Floette.
Okay.
Like at
So
the
is,
end, I guess he atones in some way or whatever and is forgiven.
so is this taking place after X and Y? No, this is
Uh,
before, right?
I don't believe this is before X and Y. I think this is likely in the future, and possibly also, besides just being in the future, also an alternate timeline,
That is true. Yeah.
because it's pretty much established now that there are two separate Pokemon timelines, and
Alright.
think I think it's based off of one timeline has access to Mega Evolution and another doesn't.
Well, megas are going off
But
apparently in
they
this
do
one.
have Megas here, so the thing is that this could be just simply in the future in the timeline with Mega Evolution, but since they opened up the door that there are at least two timelines, there could be more.
Alright. Just hopefully this doesn't become a mess like they did with Legend of Zelda, where they had to rearrange the timeline like 4 times. Alright, moving on.
You'll also
Can
enlist
you
the help of other
imagine
folks,
making a
like Hotel
timeline book for Pokemon?
Oh, jeez.
Z's owner AZ, and the top detective in town, Emma. They'll lend a hand in tackling some strange incidents in the city.
So we're the Scooby-Doo gang. Got it.
One of the
And
cases
this
you'll
is the
investigate
big
is that
thing.
wild Pokemon are mega evolving on their own and rampaging across Lumiose City. Together with your allies on Team MZ, you'll take on these rogue mega evolved Pokemon. Your best bet against these formidable foes is to strengthen your bonds with your Pokemon and unleash mega evolutions of your own. Do you have what it takes to pacify the rogue mega evolved Pokemon? And
What
what's
the
mysterious
frick?
cause behind the rampages? You can battle with up to 3 other trainers by connecting either locally or online. Gather your team and see who can take down the most Pokemon within the time limit. Show off your trainer chops by using all
This
the
is just
moves
backstab
and
the
mega
game.
evolutions at your disposal.
Let me wait for you to take out the electric so my water can freaking douse you.
I'm not exactly sure how that free-for-all is going to play out, given that it's not really turn-based and
Yeah.
whatnot.
Yeah. I have a feeling the 4-player like battle royale is also due to limitations on the network as well. Did maybe I haven't. This is actually kind of where I stopped. I stopped a little right after the hotel part.
Mm.
So I didn't see this part here. Um, did they say anything about like just co-oping in the Luminos City, just like doing different things together, kind of like how they did
I
with Scarlet and Violet?
no, I do not believe they said anything in the next minute and a half about doing co-op.
Oy. All right. All right, trading.
Not the victory bell.
A whole new adventure across Lumiose City is about to begin. Pokémon Legends ZA, available October 16th, only on the Nintendo Switch 2 and Nintendo Switch systems.
Pretty much ends there. They
With
just
enhanced
spend the
resolution
rest
and
of it
frame rates on Switch
talking
2,
about
you
the
can enjoy a more visually
Switch 2 edition and the Switch and everything, and that you can, if you get the Switch version or whatever, you can buy an upgrade bundle or whatever if you get the Switch 2 or whatever. So I guess instead of having to totally rebuy the game, if you get a Switch 2, you can upgrade if you got the game for the Switch and play it on the Switch 2.
Why can't they just be like Sonic Crossworlds on the Switch, where the upgrade is free when you buy the physical version of Sonic Crossworlds?
That's a really good question.
Like
It's a really good question.
like I. Because already we're paying a premium for a Switch 2 for hardware. So,
I mean,
yeah.
everybody else is paying a premium for the Switch 2 hardware. I'm not. I'm
Uh,
not buying one.
I mean, I still have no reason to buy a Switch 2 yet. You know what? Normally, like games like Fire Emblem would be like, instant buy, go. No, not even interested.
I know,
Yeah.
I mean, as far as I'm concerned, there's not a single game out yet that has really caught my attention to pull the trigger on getting the Switch 2. And I really don't know if there's anything that Nintendo could put out right now that would really convince me to drop that amount of money for Switch 2,
Mm-hmm.
especially because my Switch is still working fine and I like what I have on the Switch. But I didn't even really buy a whole lot of games like I was expecting to for the Switch.
Yeah, the last game I bought for the Switch was the last game I bought for and played on the Switch was Advance Wars Reboot Camp. Um, which unfortunately didn't do so well, so probably no more Advance War games after that. Um, yeah, I honestly don't. There's still no system seller for me. Like normally, like you know what? Because Metroid went into development hell for so long, I no longer cared when they announced it. So I don't know. Now the good part is that at least this is for the Switch One, so I guess for us peasants out there, we can deal with the 30 FPS. I guess. Um, actually, to be honest, I feel like that it's actually worth getting the Switch One version because there's a chance that the Switch 2 version may not even have the game on the cartridge because it could be just a code, like a key card. So, I don't know.
I
Actually, you
think
know,
that I think it still has the regular game cartridge and everything, but I don't.
I don't know.
This whole thing really just leaves me in a position where I'm like, I've got a PC now,
Yeah.
and that's where I think I'm gonna be doing the majority of my gaming now, unless like the odd end comes up of a game that I just can't really get on Steam. That's like from years past, because I've told you before that when I get around to streaming and everything, I've got my list of games that I want to play, and a lot of them, and there's a heck of a lot of them, I never got the opportunity to play because I was raised as a Nintendo kid. Well, now Nintendo's not quite cutting it.
No. In fact, I felt more excited when I was watching Digimon's trailers. I felt more heart from the new Digimon game than this.
Yeah, you just did a little thing for
Yeah.
Digimon Story, right?
Yeah, we did. And honestly, like we loved what we saw. Like even though you can tell like the animations and stuff were not as polished as Pokemon, but it like I actually felt I cared about the characters. So because Digimon follows like a lot, and also there was that new anime as well coming up too. So like with the Gekomon, so as like the main protagonist, like Digimon, and yeah,
Well,
yeah,
I feel like Digimon kind of is in a particular space where even from like the very beginning, in some of those early series, they were able to, or just willing to take some risks and whatnot. Like, I remember Digimon Tamers, and at the time, I didn't really think anything of it.
mm-hmm.
But looking back and having people, break down some of the things that happen across Tamers, it's like, oh, I didn't realize exactly how many dark undertones and overtones there were to that series.
Yeah. All right. Well, yeah, it just seems like right now Nintendo is a bit on the low end. Now, of course, we've all heard that the Nintendo of America president, whether it be because of a little bit of a downturn or not, is retiring at the end of this year. So we'll see where that goes. But it looks like right now the discontent with Nintendo and just the very underwhelming like pitch for the Switch 2 has been very, I guess you could say, just mediocre to somewhat passable. It's giving a lot of room for older competition to come in and start taking a bit of the market share. So, but
God, it's about time.
yeah, like congratulations to Sonic Racing at 97% overwhelmingly positive on Steam. Congratulations to them on that one. Um,
I've said it before. Nintendo almost had themselves set up to just have a chokehold on console gaming, the last shreds of what's left. They
yeah.
had effectively won, and now they're just kind of
They got
booting
complacent.
themselves.
Yeah.
They got too big and didn't think that they would be able to fail or face any sort of repercussions or anything. And now they're public enemy number one. And you have, as you said, other companies that can now come in, snag up some of that pie that they had, and perhaps Sonic Racing could be a precursor for Sega to maybe start clawing its way back. Because, God, they've been out of things for a while.
Yeah, I mean, Sega's got their own set of issues, but mostly with the Persona series. Um, but they're making some mistakes as like Square Enix here and there. Well, I wouldn't say major mistakes, but just like a very bad habit. Not bad habit, like a bad trend. Um, but overall though, yeah. If this is the period, if this is the era where like everybody else can start to catch up to Nintendo, I'd say go for it. We saw indies get like starting to rise too. Um, like I think Power World's like big Power World is being fueled by their thing with Nintendo here, but that's neither here nor there during this video. So, all right, well, I think that's it really. So, to those of you in the comments, let us know if you're going to be picking up in Pokemon ZA, or you're going to try to pick it up on a rare sale, or what would convince you to try to get this game? To me, I probably wouldn't get it unless at least three other my friends are actually picking it up, to be honest. So, yeah.
I am mulling over what I want to do with it because I really did like Legends Arceus, and I like the idea of what the Legends games are trying to go for.
Yeah.
This one just kind of feels like I really don't know if it's gonna deliver. I I could be persuaded maybe to give it a chance, but if they botch this, in my opinion, where I come out of it not really liking what I see, they're going to ruin me ever picking up another Legends game.
Yeah. I really do hope that there's going to be like a fun twist or something, like a part two story. Like AZ is basically we find AZ's machine and we have to like stop him from doing it again or something. So, I don't know.
I think that there's going to be some other kind of twist to it. I get the feeling that AZ isn't going to be the villain for this. I think that he's just going to be chilling out for most of the game in the hotel with his Floette. I'm almost 100% positive that after wrapping up X and Y, they've pretty much decided that they're just going to let this man chill with his Floette, and that's going to be his thing.
Hmm. Yeah, and that's the thing too. Like, I think X and Y was my last like favorite mainline Pokemon series because the ones previous after that, I think like the last ones I liked before then were um Diamond and Pearl. I think that was my last like those were like my two favorite mainline games.
Diamond and Pearl for me were the last games. Well, not necessarily Diamond and Pearl, because we had Diamond and Pearl, and then after Diamond and Pearl, while we were still in Gen 4, we got Heart Gold and Soul Silver. And those were probably the last time that I was super excited for a Pokemon game,
Hmm.
because I can look back now and kind of appreciate more Black and White, but at the time, I really did not like a lot of the Pokemon designs and some of what they were trying to go for. But then when we got Gen 6, I really started to feel the cracks forming in my love for Pokemon.
Mm-hmm.
And a part of that was a variety of things, but the first thing that I noticed was okay, we have a lot less Pokemon being introduced in this generation. We have going through the game itself after seeing, like, okay, we don't have a whole lot of Pokemon roster in here. Uh, Not a lot of the gym leaders look very interesting, and they're not having that much of an impact on stuff. The towns and the cities are largely just kind of there. They're not really making me feel like this region is very, impactful or has any sort of real things going for it. And I kind of talk a little bit about this in my short that's going up tomorrow, but X and Y really came across to me as a bare bones game.
Mm.
Now it
Wait,
had a lot of features. It had a lot of features for like being able to set your Pokemon up for competitive battling, and I think that out of most of the games, it was probably one of the best that they made for competitive battling up to that point.
yeah.
But aside from that,
Sun and Moon wasn't terrible either, but it was so short.
my personal opinion, I was not a big Sun and Moon fan.
I
I
didn't.
did think
Yeah, I got underwhelmed once I finished the main story. That's why I didn't even bother picking up. What's their follow up?
Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon.
Yeah, I never picked those up. I was just like, eh.
I tried to give it a shot, but I don't think I actually completed the game. I think I got about to the Elite Four, but for some reason, I just decided I really am not enjoying this anymore. And the strange thing is that a lot of people had kind of mixed reactions when it came to removing the gyms for the island trials and whatnot. I didn't really have, I think, all that much of an issue with the island trials. I
What?
think that what I didn't like about Sun and Moon is that as we were kind of progressing with Pokemon, you have the first couple Pokemon games where you know that the protagonists that you're playing as are 10 years old. But then Pokemon kind of did a thing where when you get to the Black and White games, one of the things that I did like about Black and White is they increased the age of the player character. And it kind of made me feel like, okay, they're acknowledging that a lot of us are growing ourselves and getting older, and maybe they're going to make attempts and whatnot to kind of play into that.
Oh yeah.
But then they completely flip the script and you go back to Sun and Moon, and now it's not only that you're playing as effectively a 10-year-old again, but in conjunction with it, they really made the game feel as though it was made for a 10-year-old.
Yeah. I actually yeah, and this will be our last thing before we head up because we've been actually this video is now over 30 minutes long. So to wrap things up, yeah, I thought of an idea where like the main story can still be 10 years old, but once you get to post story, you can choose to what you want to do for end game, where you want to make yourself still like 10 to 11 year old, a teenager, so 13 to 16, or young adult, 17 to 19. So, kind of like that.
Something that changes things up would be a little nice and just kind of welcome. But
Yeah.
my apologies for go- making things go a little bit longer when it comes to Pokemon. I have opinions and I can talk.
Oh yeah, I mean I have opinions too, but that's why I also want to talk to you about it because my old crew, you know, from high school, we don't talk anymore. So they were the only ones I used to talk to with Pokemon a lot. All right then. Well, thanks a lot for taking the time to stop by. Um, yeah. So, and to the our viewers and also people who are watching the YouTube video that I'll be posting probably this Saturday, or maybe tomorrow. As today's Thursday. We will, yeah, let us know how you guys feel about Pokemon's trajectory, how you feel about this game, picking it up day one, or wait for sale, or not convinced unless. All right, that's it to it.